Everybody, this is Victor. I'm here with Tamra and Sebastian. We're doing part two of the case study. They actually sold their flip and they made it was 42,000 net profit. What was it again?
Yes.
42.5.
42.5. Okay, 42,500 net profit, which is amazing. They sold it about 2 weeks ago, give or take, and just want to give an update on their progress and their flip, and just to congratulate them on a huge, it's a huge check. That's a huge amount of money to make for sure. But yeah, just wanted to kind of give an update here. But yeah, how are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. We're
Very
glad.
good.
We're kind of glad it's done for now, but we're ready to look for our next one also.
That's
Yes.
good. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. So I like the last we spoke, you guys had put the first property under contract. So what happened since then in terms of like closing it, renovation? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about closing and renovation. How did that go for you guys?
Are you talking about the first contract that fell through or just in general?
The first deal, like the house you guys actually bought.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Go closing.
I don't get what you're asking, I guess.
Oh, if you can just so how did the purchase go? How did the renovations go on the deal?
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so the purchase we bought, we found it on off market on Facebook, and we put in an offer that day. They rejected, and we went back with their asking price, and they accepted, and we were under contract that day. We didn't want to lose the house because we knew it was a good one for us. So we went under contract that day and we closed within a couple weeks after that. And as far as the renovations go,
that was a complete gut.
Yeah, it was completely gutted. We gutted it down to the studs. I mean,
we just kept the shell.
Yeah, we pretty much just kept the shell. It had new insulation, new sheetrock, new AC, new plumbing,
new electric.
We
added the HVAC. Yeah, it was just window units at the time, so we added that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean, we went all in, and for this to be our first flip, it was an adventure to say the least.
Yes.
But we did it. We did it together. So and we didn't kill each other. So
wasn't too
We're
bad.
still both here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you guys were a little more hands-on, like you did a lot of the work yourself, right?
Yes.
Like
every weekend or maybe a couple hours after work, in the evening after 5, go over there, work an hour or two, try to do something. There were even moments we stayed late till like midnight, just trying to get something done. Got to put in the work.
Yeah.
Get it done.
But you guys made it happen. I mean, you made a good profit too, so that's fantastic. And learned a lot. What are some of the things, like, because you said that you learned a lot, what are some of the things you learned through the process? You're just going through it.
What I would say is how tedious the city could be at times,
Yes.
Also, as far as like local builders around here, they already have relationships with inspectors and things like that. And then you have newbies coming in and, they're real picky and tedious and stuff. But just learning all the codes and things like that, like we didn't know.
Yeah, they came at one point and put a stop to it, saying I didn't have a building permit. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not removing any structure. I was just from hearsay what I was told. As long as you're not tearing down walls, you're just, replacing things, that I should be fine. But they still made me go to them, put in the permit, draw up a floor plan of everything I was gonna do and what I was doing, and then submit it, and then go from there. And I was like, okay, now I got a permit.
Yeah, so it was a lot of back and forth stuff. Just when we thought like, okay, we're good, then it would be something else and something else, and it was all of that, just learning along the way. And now we would be on top of it. So
yeah,
that's a good. There is a lot of that with the city. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I built a good relationship with some of the inspectors.
That's good. Yeah. It's so crazy because it's happened a lot for me too with like permits and inspectors. Like they go to inspect, item A. And then they're like, oh, what about B, C, and D? And like they find problems and it's like, okay, well now you got to fix B, C, and D. And like, no, just like inspect the thing. And then it's like, oh no, you got to stop everything until this is fixed. And then, okay, I'll come out next week after it's fixed. And like the entire process takes a long time. So,
like one of the deals was the concrete. They wanted to come out and inspect it after we poured some concrete. So we poured the concrete, called the inspector, And just like you said, they said, well, what about B, C, and D? And we're like, well, you told us to call you after the concrete was poured, because we would hate to continue and then something be wrong with the concrete to where we'd have to tear down B, C, and D.
Exactly.
So it's just one of those things.
Okay, well, you guys made it through. Okay, so that was the renovations. You guys learned a lot. You're hands-on, made it happen. That's great. What about like selling the house? How did that process go? Yeah.
Getting the realtor, yeah.
It was nice to have a realtor, so that way, especially with it being our first home, we didn't have to deal with any of the paperwork or, making sure all of our I's were dotted and our T's were crossed. It was like, let him deal with it, and they communicated with the buyers. So that was nice. I guess what is it?
The appraisal.
Oh yeah, so the appraisal was one of the issues that we were like, it came in lower at what we expected.
Yeah.
And they had offered us a price and we agreed to it. Well, then the appraisal came in lower than what we expected. So it was up to us to either agree to that appraisal price or, the buyer would have to pay the difference. And we agreed to already help them out with closing costs. So that kind of told us that, that they didn't have the extra. But being that we've already waited this long to sell the house, because of course it took us longer than we anticipated to renovate the house, we were ready to get it sold. Because if we were to wait, we would have been under just even more. So we went ahead and took that offer.
Yeah.
So for next time, I would say for us to go ahead and get the appraisal beforehand before we put it on the market, so we can see what we're looking at. But we left the appraisal up to the buyers at that point.
Also, we had a cash offer on the very first time, and it was a good offer, but I didn't want to just jump at it and be like, oh, it's the first offer, and got too excited and accepted. So holding out 2 months later, I still ended up getting
what the cash offer would have been.
I was like, I should have just took the cash offer, but I was just like, nah, don't just jump at the first offer. But now I know it's just about timing, how quick you can get out from under it, whether you're making 10 grand, whether you're making 30 grand. It's like, I moved it in a month. Hey, 10 grand is good for a month, compared to 6 months, so I'm like, that was the learning part also. It's like, man, we could have already been past this point. Like, now I know it's just time, not so much the profit.
No, that's spot on. There's a couple things there. Like the first thing, I agree. Like there's the opportunity cost. Like if you hold on to this property an extra 6 months, your money's tied up. You can't do another property. So what if you do two and like maybe the profit's a little bit less, because you take a little hit. But at least like you get it sold, you get it done, move on to the next one, and then you can do more and more and more houses, and that's how you make more profit. Like just like baseball, like you're hitting singles, you're not trying to for a home run each time. That's the first thing. Second thing, the first 2 weeks of listing a property, that's your best chance, like to get the best buyer, best terms, best everything. And sometimes people get that first offer. I've made this mistake too a lot. When I get that first offer, I'm like, no, it's too low, or no, whatever. And then I wait a month or two, and then I get the same offer later. It's like I should have just, yeah, that happens. But I mean, you guys are learning again. Like you made a good profit, so like there's nothing. I mean, yes, you're learning, and yes, it sucks, but like at the end of the day, like you still got a big check, which is huge. Are you comfortable like sharing numbers, like what you bought it for, what you put into it, like repairs, what you sold it for? If not, that's totally fine. But I'd be curious, like you can share.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So we bought it at 34.
Okay. No, it was right at 30.
30.
We bought it at 30.
It's been a while since we bought it, but so I'll give you estimations. So we bought it at 30. And then we were all in about 74.
74.
That's where the 4 came from.
Yeah.
And so by the time we sold it, it was 127. And so that's where the 40 comes in profit. So
that's great. That's awesome. Cool. Congrats. Yeah. How do you guys feel about it now that it's done? How do you guys feel about future flips? Like you want to do more? Like how do you guys feel right now?
We definitely want to do more.
Yes, it was like it wasn't bad at all.
Yes, we enjoyed it. It was something that we've been talking about doing for a while, and we were always so scared to do it and wanted to, we were just like, it's only going to get done if we do it. So we jumped in with a leap of faith and it may have taken us a little longer than we wanted, but we got it done. And now we have some money to sit on to get into another one a little quicker.
Yes. To maybe help out, even maybe get some contractors in there to get some of the work done, so it just gets done quicker. And so either way, I'm still making money, getting rid of it quicker instead of holding on to it, trying to do it all myself. Like, well, I moved, the time frame is better, we're still benefiting.
And you guys are going to see like the first one's the hardest, and it's going to become easier each time around. One, you guys have more money, which is awesome. Two, you have more connections, just like you talked about with the city and with everyone. Three, you know the process. There's just so much working in your favor at this point, which is awesome.
I really liked it.
Yeah, that's good. And you had a good experience too. That's good. Sometimes people have a tougher time. I know there's delays, but that almost always happens.
Yeah, no, there was never a moment where I was like, oh my God, what did I get into? Or I'm not going to be able to do this. It was completely gutted. And I was just like, I see it. I could see it, I wasn't even worried about nothing,
I like it. Yeah. If you could like talk to yourselves in the past, like what would you say to yourselves? Like you now having done one deal versus, the Tamra and Sebastian saying, hey, they're scared doing the first one at 0.
I would say I wish we would have done it sooner.
Definitely.
And I would say that's probably the only thing. And then you can never learn too much. So even till this day, we're, different scenarios. Not every house is going to be the same outcome or the same, remodel or, however much it takes. So just different scenarios. There's always something to learn.
I think one thing is pretty much that, but I think I would probably just have a better design in the head.
Okay.
Like pick a scheme, like your colors, and know what you're gonna put in it. Because I had an idea of what I was gonna do, but I think you need to have like the right colors that go and base off each other, from your floor to your cabinets to your countertops to your outside paint. And I would just tell myself, hey, you should have done this different.
Yes, because the cabinet color I picked out was not what I thought it was gonna look like. But so I had this vision and I tried to match it up as best as I could. And then once we got the kitchen cabinets painted, I was like, I'm not crazy about it. So then we started second guessing ourselves, like maybe we should change it. But we kept the color on there because then that would have been, I keep telling myself it wasn't our house, but we just needed to get it sold too. So
when people were seeing the house, did they get feedback? Did you guys get feedback like, hey, we don't really like the kitchen cabinet?
Yeah, the realtor, I asked him to do that, and it was the cabinets. They were people were hesitant about.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you're learning, so it's fine. And that does happen. Like sometimes it even happens like it's on a photo, and then you put it in real life and it has different lighting and it doesn't look the same.
Yes.
That happens too. So no worries. I've been there too. Yeah. Or like it gets too dark or it's too light or it's that.
Yep.
So really, I guess just staying neutral. Don't try to get fancy with the colors. Just stay neutral, because whoever the buyer is going to be, they can put their own touches later. But that was a lesson learned.
Another lesson learned. Yeah, you guys have a whole list already. That's crazy. Yeah.
Lighting was a good one too. Like just adding little canteen lights instead of just the middle ceiling fan light. Like that updated a room big time.
That's smart. The recessed lights.
Yes.
That's really smart. Yeah, the lighting can change it, especially sometimes it's kind of dark. Older houses like sometimes have small windows. I don't know if it's like that in Texas, but here in Florida, like sometimes they have small windows and you don't get a lot of light, so it changes the room. Okay, cool. No, so a lot of lessons learned. That's awesome. That in mind, like, would you recommend others work with me as well?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you made it pretty easy. At first I remember I asked you, it's like, why do I need to pay you when I can do it? And you're like, well, I've already done the trial and error for you. You can figure it out and go, but I think without your samples and your paperwork and everything,
your resources
and your knowledge and education, it probably would have been a little tougher.
It would have been a lot tougher. And just knowing that you were there for any email, phone call, Facebook message or anything like that. And just even you checking in on us just showed that, I mean,
that was,
you wanted to see where we were at and, keeping us on track as well. And I'm like, Victor texted us again. We better get over to that house and start working. So, I mean, just having that support on somebody that's been there, done that. I mean, that's nice. And then, if we have any questions, we can holler at you. So it's
Yeah.
nice having that on hand.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I'm still here for the next flip and like the next flip after that. Like I'm still here to help. So don't be shy as well.
Yes, definitely.
Sounds
Cool.
good.
Well, this is great. Well, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for hopping on here, kind of sharing the update to your story. It's a hell of an update. I think even when we started, we were anticipating like 35K net, and I think you guys actually made a little bit more. So you can't be
Yeah,
mad
we
at those
did
numbers,
good.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But anything else you guys want to share? Anything else, like any lessons learned? Anything else here as we wrap up?
Yeah, learn your codes for the city.
Okay.
I mean, seriously,
Memorize them
I
all,
I
yeah.
went to order windows, you know, and
Yeah.
I was just gonna pop out the old ones and put new ones in. Well, the
Oh,
city
no, you
came back
couldn't.
and told me I had to lower them 1.5 inches
Oh, you're
because fire
kidding.
code. And I was like, no, I shouldn't have to. I'm just, it's grandfathered in. It's an old house. I'm just updating the window. They're like, well, it's not gonna pass inspection. And I'm like, you're serious? For 1.5 inches, you're gonna hold me back? And they're like, yeah. So, I mean, that was a good thing. Before I went and ordered custom windows, I had to go and get different windows. So make sure you don't, if I'd have had a hiccup there, if I'd have bought those windows and then go and install them, and then they're like, oh,
Take them all out.
take them all out. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with them now? So,
Yeah.
learn your codes.
Or just be sure with the city beforehand before you
Mhm.
spend all that money. But other than that, I just say if you're hesitant about it, I mean, I would say just do it. Go for it.
Yeah, just do it.
I like it.
And Victor's your guy.
Cool. I appreciate that too. Yeah. Awesome. Well, appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for hopping on here, sharing your story. And then, yeah, hopefully we'll do, if you guys are open to, hopefully we can do another one. How you guys made 50K on another flip or, whatever.
Yes.
Well, that'd be great.
That's our goal.
That's it. Yes.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Until next
Thank
time.
All right.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.